happening?
They're crying because the guy just died.
Oh.
Why are you smiling?
No, I'm sad. I swear. My face is just not facing.
Have you ever questioned your entire existence? Like, you look back at your childhood and think, wait, was I the weird kid? Or, oh my gosh, it all makes sense now. Well, I did. Growing up, I felt like I was on a completely different planet. Social rules made no sense. I felt low-key isolated, and people were just confusing.
Huh?
But plot twist! I just got diagnosed with autism at 17, and suddenly, all those moments from my childhood click. So let's go through those experiences, the signs I missed, the stuff that confused me, and how getting that diagnosis changed how I see myself. You may relate, or you may not, but I hope this video helps you understand autism, or yourself a bit better. Now, autism traits counter, on! When I was little, I had zero interest in friends, drawing over socializing. I didn't make facial expressions naturally. If I was happy, this was my face. My mom would bounce my brother and I up and down with her leg. While my brother was smiling and laughing, I was just like, huh, nice. You know that game, Graveyard, where people try to make you laugh while you pretend to be dead? I was built for that game. I didn't do expressions, so I was an undefeated champion. Ha! But this one time I took the dead part too literally, and I lay there trying not to blink or move at all. People started questioning if I was actually okay.
Huh?
Jay, blink twice if you're okay. Hello? I waved my puny hand very slightly to wave, terrified of losing, but they didn't say I was out, so I stayed down there for an hour, just waiting for someone to tell me the game is over. Hello? So yeah, taking things too literally. I also didn't know when people were saying idioms. When my mom was being sarcastic, "Wow, you're so great. You don't ask too many questions at all." I'd be like, "Aw, thank you." And when she laughed, thinking I was joking, I was utterly confused. I had to learn empathy. One time my mom burst through the door, crying hard. She collapsed down to the floor, curled up in a ball. Meanwhile, 7-year-old me was extremely invested in magic tricks. I was watching YouTube videos about them, so when I saw my mom, I was like, "Hey mom, can I still look up magic tricks?" "Jade, what the? Uh-oh. How could you not recognize I am having a hard time here? Read the room!" I continued to hear the phrase, "read the room," many times throughout my life. Hey, that doesn't count. I found eye contact very uncomfortable. I'd much rather talk while doing something else so I didn't have to stare into anyone's soul. I took everything at a surface level. Body language? What's that? I thought people crossed their arms just cause it was comfy, not to show annoyance or anything. I didn't really initiate social stuff. I never went, "Look at this, Mom, look!" I never grabbed my mom's hand to pull her into a candy store or ask for anything until she told me I could. When I did talk, which was rare unless you were close family, I'd go on and on about my interests or, you know, myself. I was basically just talking to myself because they wouldn't respond or need to respond. In fact, my mom said I have a very tune-outable voice, since it would often go monotone and I'd just be rambling. I even had voice acting training, where people told me I needed more variety in my voice. I'd make facial expressions that did not match the social situation at all. Like, I'd smile when I was innocent. Jay, did you break the plate?
No.
You're smiling! You broke it!
What? No, I swear!
No, but I genuinely didn't break the plate! Why am I like this? I was also diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, but on top of tics, I'd stim too. Stimming is when you do repetitive movements and sounds to regulate yourself. I'd be constantly fiddling with my hands or rocking back and forth. I often repeated phrases that I thought sounded cool, called echolalia.
Mama! Do you want a present?
I didn't know what was going on. I just liked the sound. I also fidgeted by rolling up my clothes. I do it so naturally that I didn't even realize it. Just look at my family photos from age 7 to 10 and you'll see me with one pant leg rolled up. I'd never remember how or when I did it, it just happened. One time at daycare, I was caught rolling up my shirt, and one of the staff was like, "Jay, no, don't do that." Oh, I was doing that? If it wasn't my clothes, I'd fidget with my hands or anything I had on hand, like a bracelet, eraser, whatever. I had very specific routines. I only missed flossing once in my life. I said goodbye the same way every time. I liked doing things in a very particular order. I always needed to know every detail. Who's gonna be at the party? What are we gonna eat? What time are we leaving? How long is each activity? I had so many questions about everything. I'd often jump from hyperfixation to neo-hyperfixation, obsessively researching different topics to gather as much info as I could. I didn't want to think or talk about anything else. I was very sensory-seeking. I had to touch all the textures of random store items. I'd also smell my hand at any chance I got. One time, I was smelling my finger while lining up for class, and the teacher noticed. The entire class was talking, except for me, because I didn't have friends to talk to. So the teacher was like, "Everyone, look at Jay here, silently telling everyone to shush while not making any extra noise. You set such a good example." Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I also had to taste everything, even non-edible things like gems, rings, or footballs. I despised public washrooms. I hated the smell, a loud environment, and overall vibe. After the flush, I'd cry, cover my ears, and bolt out of the stall. There were certain foods that I just could not eat. I found most sauces disgusting, especially mayonnaise and mustard. But back then, I thought I was just bad at being a person, that I needed to try harder, be better. So I masked. Masking is when you try to act normal by concealing your autistic traits. I copied what others did, or followed what adults literally told me to do. When someone's sad, you stroke their back. Go up to that kid and ask, "How are you?" Smile here, nod there, match their tone, mirror their face. At first they thought I was being sarcastic, dramatic, or mocking them. But over time, I got better at pretending. Masking helped me fit in, but it was like I was manually piloting a human instead of just being one. And because I hid it so well, and I could speak well, I didn't seem autistic. I wasn't Rain Man. So instead, I thought I was broken, but when I started learning what autism really was, all those sensory things, the social confusion, the mimicry, those weren't flaws, they were signs. Signs I never knew to look for. Then the identity crisis hit. How much of me was actually me, and how much of me was just trying to be normal? I started seeking a diagnosis, thinking it would let me unmask. But then I thought, what if I don't need permission? What if I just start now? So I did. I let myself stim in public. I brought fidget toys with me. I took breaks when I felt overwhelmed. It was hard at first. I kept thinking, am I just faking? Am I taking up space meant for someone who really needs it? But honestly, I really needed it. It didn't harm anyone else to take care of myself. So when the official autism diagnosis came, I was relieved. I wasn't broken. I was just autistic. That one word didn't change who I was, but it helps me understand who I've always been. Even though it took me 17 years to figure it out, now I can stop trying to be someone I'm not and start learning to be okay with who I actually am. I wasn't the weird kid. I was the autistic kid, and that kid was doing the best they could. This is just my story, but maybe it'll help you understand your story too. If you relate to a lot of these traits, you could also be on the spectrum, but keep in mind that these are just my childhood autistic experiences. Relating to some stuff doesn't automatically mean you're autistic, and not relating to them doesn't mean you're not either. It's called a spectrum for a reason. If you want to learn more about this, I'm probably gonna make another video about it. I find it fun to talk about. You can also research the symptoms yourself or talk to supportive communities. That's what helped me, like talking to my autistic friends about it. Okay, see ya!